In this video, we'll be looking at place value and how that looks like in year 5. We'll first discuss what place value means, and then we'll work through the activities on your worksheet. If you haven't already, there is a free worksheet that's available to download, which accompanies this video. The link to that worksheet should be in the title description if you're watching on YouTube, or it could be in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. So we'll work through writing our number in digits and then in words. We're then going to look at how we would find the value of an underlined digit, and we're going to finish with a place value challenge. So let's look at this number. Now, this number has a lot of digits. In fact, it's got 7 digits. So numbers with a lot of digits can be sometimes hard to read, and we can read it once and then realise we've got numbers in the wrong order. So what is a useful tip is to think about our large numbers always in groups of 3, and we would start from our smallest side. So I'd count in 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'd put a separator in. So I'd put a comma in to separate. I would then count another 3 digits in, 1, 2, 3, and I'd put another comma in. Now numbers work like that all the way up, however many digits you add on, they all work in groups of 3. And in fact, you only need to know how to say a group of 3 numbers. So for example, this is 218, this is 536. But because the 536 is this side of the comma, of the separator, this 536 are all in the thousands part of our place value chart, which I'll show on the next slide. So let's have a look at a place value chart, because it will help you to visualize how we would say this number. So I'm going to write my number in. I'm going to actually start from my ones column, so I definitely fit it all in. Okay, I'm going to put my comma in, my separator. Okay. You can see that now I've written all the digits onto a place value chart, it's a bit easier to see what each digit is worth. So I have 1 in my million section, so I have 1 million. And then, as I said a moment ago, we read our numbers in groups of 3. So this is a group of 3. I read that as 536,000 because they're in our thousand column, and then the last 3 I read that as one number as well, 218. So my separators are telling me when my group of 3 changes a value. So my 218, they're all worth ones. I've got 218 ones. 200s, 110 and 8 ones is the same as saying 218 ones. Here I have 536 thousands. I have 6 thousands, 3 10,000s and 500 thousands, but together I have 536 thousands, and here I have 1 million. So to say this number, if I counted in 3 and put my commas in, my first comma tells me my hundreds, and my next comma or separator tells me my millions. So one way to do it would be to just put your separators in, and I know that these are my ones, I know that these are my thousands, and then after my thousands I have my millions. Now in year 5 you just need to know up to 1 million, in year 6 you'll go up to 10 million, and actually if you know up to 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, it's very similar. Well, it's exactly the same concept. So this number, we would be able to read it as 1,536,218. So let's have a look at reading this number in words and writing it in digits. I've got 806,547. So remember I said that the digits go in 3s. So when I said that number, I said 806 thousand. So the word thousand, that acts as our separator. That tells me that the 806 belongs in my thousand section. So 806 belongs in my thousands. I've got 800,000, no 10,000s, and 6,000s. 806,000, then I had 547. So I just write 547 in. My separator would go here. Let's check that. 806,547. 806,547. 806,547. So that's how I'd write it in words. If I didn't have a place value chart, I might try and separate my thousand bit. 806. So I'm going to write 806. When I get to my word thousand, I'm going to use the separator to replace the word thousand. And then I've got 547. So I'm just going to write 547. So that's a shortcut on how to write a number in digits. Okay, you could have a go at the activity on your worksheet now, or you can stay with me and we'll go through the next activity together and you can do the worksheet at the end. You're completely in control of this lesson video, so you can pause, have a go when you want, or you can watch the whole thing through, you can rewind, you can go over things, do it at your own pace. So here we have a number that we need to write in words. Now I am still going to put my separators in. I'm going to separate my number into groups of 3. So I'm going to put my separators in to separate my groups of 3. I know that these are going to be my ones. I know that these are going to be my thousands. And then I know that anything after my thousands is going to be my million. And in year 5, you just need to know up to 1 million. And in year 6, you need to know up to 10 million. So this makes it easier to read. So I've got 1,798,724. So we only needed to read groups of 3. 1 million, the 798,724. So once you understand the concept of separating groups of 3, and that when you get to your separator, the first group after your ones is 1,000, and the group after that is your millions. So let's have a go at how you would do that if you were working with a place value chart instead. So I would write it in 1, 7. So I'm just writing the digits out. And again, thinking about them in groups of 3, I would separate them, and exactly as before, I'd want to read them in groups of 3. I have 1 million, I have 798,000, and I have 724. So when I came to writing it out, I would think about the value of each digit starting at the beginning. So I could write out 1 million, as my 1 is in my million section. I write out the number of the next 3 digits, 798,000, because they're in the thousand section, and 724. And that's how I would write my digits into words. Write the number as a word. For your next activity, you're finding the value of the underlined digit. Now, with this, each time there's going to be a different underlined digit. So you're going to just have to think about each time what the value of that digit is. Now, what I would do is I would put this into a place value chart. Now, you could put your commas in, your separators in. Don't have to use a place value chart. And that might be enough to show you what the value of that digit is. I know that that 5 does not belong in my ones. It's not my 100 or 10. It belongs in my thousand section, and it always goes 1, 10, 100, 1, 10, 100. But this 1, 10, 100 is 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Then this is 1 million, the next would be 10 million, the next would be 100 million. Okay, so it always works 1, 10, 100, but they have, each group of 3 has got a different value. So here, this would be my 1, 10, 5 lots of 10,000, and 5 10,000s is the same as 50,000s. However, let me write it into a place value chart. 1, 2, 5, 8, 7, 6, 3. So I might use my separators, but I can think about the 3 digits, 3 groups of 3s. So I have 1,258,763, and my 5 was underlined, which means I'm looking at this number. So 5 tens, well, 5 tens are 50. So 5 lots of 10,000 is 50, 1,000. Okay, so if I was to get rid of the other digits, I'd have my 5. That's going to tell me what the value of that 5 is. It's 50,000. Let's have a look at if another digit was underlined. This time the 1 is underlined. So this time the 1 is underlined. And looking at the heading, I can see it's 1 million. Now to write that as a value, I can just write my 1 there and then just fill in everything else as a 0, everything else as a placeholder. So the value of the 1 is 1 million, and you would write 1 million like this. Okay, let's have a look at another example. What if a different digit was underlined? What if the 2 was underlined? Okay, my 2 is worth 100,000. So again, if I didn't know how to write that out, I write my 2, everything else just becomes a 0. Just put placeholders in. So the 2 was worth 200,000. That was the value of the 2 in that number. My final one is 7. What is the 7 worth? Well, the 7 is in my 100 section. So if I put my 7 there and clear the rest after it, I can see my 7 is worth 700. So in that number, the underlined digit was worth 700. So have a go on your worksheet. You might use a place value chart like I have here, or you might just be able to do it by using separators in your number, like so, and using that to help you. You could even put 1, 10, 100 above it. So I've put 1, 10, 100, but then above this, these are 1, 10 and 100,000s. These are 1, 10 and 100 ones, and this is your million. That might help you. Okay, you might not need any of that. Go at your own pace. So I'm going to move on to my next activity. So pause if you want to do this activity on underline the digit, or stay with me if you want to move on to the next activity. So for your place value challenge, I want you to think about how you could arrange these 7-digit cards so that you could make the smallest number possible and the largest number possible. So for example, at the moment, as they are, I've got the number 4,862,593. But I could swap some of these digits around. What if I moved everything over to one place? So if I started with the 3,486,259, I could do that again. 9,348,625. There are lots of combinations. I wonder if you can find how many combinations there are. Is there a rule to it? So if you can find the largest number possible and the smallest number possible. Perhaps you can do it without having to write loads of numbers out. Perhaps you've spotted something. When you are sure that you have definitely found the largest and the smallest number possible, I want you to find the difference between those two numbers. Now, the numbers I have on the screen are not the largest and smallest numbers possible, but I'm going to take my largest and smallest number from my screen and explain what I mean when I say to find the difference. So remember, finding the difference is simply subtracting. So if these were my largest and smallest numbers, I would simply take my largest number and subtract my smallest number from it. Make sure that you line your digits up. So obviously you would use a ruler, squared paper if you have it, but make sure you line your digits up, and you would simply find the difference by subtracting. So let's give that a go. I can't do 5 take away 9, so I'm going to borrow 1. 15 take away 9 is 6. I can't do 1 take away 5. I'm going to borrow 1. 11 take away 5 is 6. 5 take away 2 is 3. I'm going to put my separator in. 8 minus 6 is 2. 4 minus 8 I can't do. 14 take away 8 is 6. 2 minus 4 I can't do. 12 take away 4 is 8. And I put my separator in. And finally, my 8 take away 3 is 5. So with my examples, the difference between my largest number and my smallest number was 5,862,366. But as I said, these are not the largest and smallest. So I'd like you to find the largest and smallest numbers from the digits on your worksheet. Make sure you're definitely confident they're largest and smallest. Are you able to tell someone why you definitely know? If you're really confident, you should be able to explain how you're 100% sure, and then find the difference between the two numbers. Okay, and that's the end of our activities for place value in year 5 or year 6. If you would like to move on to finding using place value up to 10 millions, you can have a look at our app, which is on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. It's free to download and only $4.99 a month to be able to access all of the learning objectives, including place value. So here's a little look at the place value lesson on the app. You can see on the left that there are 3 different worksheets, 3 different activities. We've got a lesson video, which is almost 33 minutes long. So it goes through how to separate numbers up to 10 millions. We've got a place value chart, which also goes into our decimals. And then we've got some past SATs questions as well. So you can actually see, if you had have sat the SATs test, what a place value question could look like. So you can actually test your understanding and really see if you've mastered the concept. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lessons, and I will be back tomorrow with some more.